Hello and welcome to the Absolute Game of Nerds with your non-geek, non-nerd host, JP. And today I have something exciting. I completed my Spider-Man run. Ding, 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 ding. Thank you for that. My dog ringing the bell. We did complete a Spider-Man run. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it was an Amazing Spider-Man. It wasn't the Amazing Spider-Man run or the Amazing Fantasy run. This is the Spectacular Spider-Man run. Numbers 1 through 100. Let me give you a quick background on that and why I did that. If you know anything about my collecting habits through some of our shows, I only really collect key comics. Keys from Silver Age, Copper, Bronze Age, some of your occasional Golden Age, some Good Girl books, comics, Star Wars, you name it. Marvel is probably my top, with DC being a close second. Collecting the 90s, so I have a lot of 90s books as well that I've been picking up, but mostly what I get is keys. So I don't really try to complete runs. It would be nice, but since I'm not a comic reader, I don't necessarily want to own every book in a particular title. But last year for Christmas, so about a year from now, a year previous, my son had bought me a gift for Christmas. Now my kids buy me gifts for Christmas, but usually it's my wife handles some of that, and this was different because he went to the LCS locally. I told the guy his dad likes Spider-Man, and the guy sold him a pack 8 Spider-Man comics. And when he got home and I looked through them, none of them I had. And none of them were key books, but they were they're pretty cool. Spectacular Spider-Man, 80s, Milgram drawings. So again, nostalgia kicks in. And I thought about it. I said, okay, here's 8. And I went back and realized that when I started collecting back in early 2022, I went after the books I had sold years prior. Amazing Spider-Man 300, some of the Black Suit Spider-Man. And I went back and bought some of those, and then went into and then evolved from getting back those books. I went into getting those, completing the run of the Black Suit Spider-Man. So all of the key books in that run. So ASM 252, Spectacular Spider-Man 90, Marvel Team Up 141, Secret Wars 8. I got all those books. I got them all graded. They're all on the wall here. Then later on in that year, the spec came out. So Speculation on the Spot, and the newest, and how he was going to be the main villain in the Across the Spider-Verse movie. So as I hunt for comics, I go to antique stores and flea markets because I don't have any LCSs really that close to me, just one. And so I do my hunting at various places throughout my county and other counties that are close. And as I travel for work, and I've come across, I don't know how many copies of Spectacular Spider-Man 97, 98, and I finally picked up 99 at a show. Got 100. So, and I picked up 94. All those have to do with Spot. First John On appearance, first appearance of him as the Spot. All those books have some significance in Spectacular Spider-Man and for the movie. Now, the spec didn't pan out, but again, I had those books, and I do think Spectacular Spider-Man number 99, the yellow cover with Spot on it, is one of the better in his run. Earlier, again, sorry to go back, but I did. When I started collecting, after I got my ASM 300 back, I was at an LCS in Pittsburgh, and I saw Spectacular Spider-Man number 1 for about $20 or $25. So I grabbed that book. So there you have it, Spectacular Spider-Man number 1, numbers 90 for the first Black Suit, or tied for first Black Suit. And then you got the Spot run, 94, 97, 98, 99, 100. I'm at a show again, and I see Spectacular Spider-Man number 101. It's the negative space Spider-Man in over the buildings, which is a really cool book. So right there, plus the 8 my son got me, and then various ones I had in long boxes from back in my childhood, or books I picked up that look cool. I had close to 50, I think 40 or 50 of those Spectacular Spider-Man. So since he got me those at Christmas, And then realizing what I already had, my goal was to complete that run as soon as I could. So what today's unboxing is going to be first is going to be the last 4 books I needed to complete the run. I started to open up the box because this was pretty much quite the Fort Knox. So I do give this seller credit for how well he packaged these up. So thank you, sir. Now behind me, you'll see the long box the short box that has all of my Spectacular Spider-Mans in them. This is 1 to 200. They're all in there, but my main goal is to do 1 to 101. So you can see 2 of the bigger books that are in that run. Besides the spot books are out on my wall, the Negative Space and the first appearance of the Black Suit. These are the other ones in that run, which comes with a Frank Miller book with Daredevil, Cloak and Dagger, which you can see, and then the Hypno Hustler, who will be played by Glover, hopefully upcoming soon here. So those weren't cheap books, and I don't buy the highest grade in these Spectacular Spider-Mans. I'm just trying to complete the run, and if I can find it in high grade, great, but my goal was to find these all at various LCSs, shows, antique stores, and then I had to resort finally to eBay to get the last 4 books to complete the run. So let's show you what I picked up to complete this run. None of these are the main books. I finally got that Cloak and Dagger from eBay for about 20 bucks. Hypno Hustler I found for like $5. Sold it to somebody on eBay. Then I bought another one for $10. So I'm ahead on that one. And I think that spec died out, but still kind of a cool book because it's a cool name for a character. But speaking of cool characters, we have Spectacular Spider-Man number 38. This is Morbius on the title. It's Morbin time. This wasn't a cheap one either, but needed it for the run. We have Spectacular Spider-Man number 70. This is Cloak and Dagger. Now, their first appearance was in Spectacular Spider-Man 64 and then had a few appearances throughout 60s through 70s with Spectacular Spider-Man. We have Spectacular Spider-Man number 19. The Enforcers are back. Again, some of these are newsstands, or they're all newsstands, so I might want to check to see if they're marked jewelers. Never know, might get lucky. This last one, to complete the run, Spectacular Spider-Man number 75, Black Cat appearance. Not a high-value book, but you got Doc Ock on it. You got the Black Cat. And the cool thing about the Black Cat is that she is on many of the spot run books. She was one of the main, adversaries / help, heroes in that run with Spot. She was a love interest of Spider-Man back then. She's also on Spectacular Spider-Man number 90 with the first black suit. So she is pretty hot, and she was an alternative for Mary Jane in that time frame. And so, and they did a pretty good job drawing her. So, the old Milgram covers, can't beat them, and just takes you back to childhood. So there you have it. Run completed. Congratulations to those that helped me out to get there, and your local LCS, my son, for starting this up. So I do appreciate it. So tell me what you think. Are you run collectors? Do you only collect keys, or do you a little bit of both? Or do you think Spectacular Spider-Man was a good run? Was that a good choice? Obviously, ASM would be a better choice, but it's kind of a neat little project to do if you guys have kids or as you hunt for books, what you can find. So try to do it for fairly cheap, and I think I did. So that's all done, and we'll find the next run to complete. But the next task was to pick up some Marvel Series 3 books. Marvel Series 3 cards. So some of you that may know that we are having a contest. Myself, Rohan, Mike from Lunch Money, Colossus Collector, Dan. I'm not sure who else is involved, but there's a good bit of us that are going to do a part 2. So Rohan and Mike did a part 1 where they took Series 2 cards, from what I remember. I didn't make the show, but they brought up the card, and they would show. Oh, that's not a card. They would show. This is Santa Claus card, but they'd show the card, read the back of it, and say, okay, so-and-so first appearance. And then they will look and check, do they have that? And then whoever had the most points at the end was more of a bragging right. And from what I recall, Rohan was somewhere in the high teens, low 20s. I'm somewhere in the high 20s, and Mike was in the mid 30s. So Mike was the big winner there for that first contest. So now we're moving on to Series 3 cards. So there's 1 point right there. Sphinx is part of the Series 3 cards. Next, we found, this is Guardians of the Galaxy number 20. This is the first appearance of Major Victory. So Major Victory is let me just bring it up here on Key Collector. It's a good app to have when you are hunting for comics. And I apologize for not being completely up to date on all this, but this has been about a month since I got these, and I haven't had a chance to make the video yet. But again, first full appearance of Vance Astro as Major Victory. So Major Victory is in the Marvel cards. Here's the question. Major Victory's in the cards. That's his name. That's his first appearance. But as Vance Astro, he actually first appeared in Marvel Superheroes featuring Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not sure what number that is, but one Mike just got, and there's a bunch of first appearances there. So the next book we got, and again, while you're hunting just things, you find them and you're like, oh, I should get this book. And this has no point significance at all, but this is the Defenders number 89. This has a swear word in the back of one of the pages. On one of the pages, you'll see a bunny in the background with the words SH bum dum T. So SH blank T. And when I read through this on Key Collector, I was like, oh, that seems like a pretty good book to pick up. And because I recognized the cover somehow, and I knew it had some significance. And when I looked at it, the swear word is not even that big of a deal. So why this one, is even mentioned is beyond me. But hence, for $5 I bought it. Maybe I wasted my money. So that's all the LCS. Next, we went to eBay to get some points. We have Captain America number 324, the first appearance of Sludge. This is a definite cheap way to get some points. Mike mentioned it on one of our chats on IG on Instagram, and I didn't even know who the hell Sludge was, but for a point, I'll take it. Next book is New Mutants number 99. This is worth the buy for, I think, a couple bucks. One, it's a Liefeld cover. It's a cool cover. It's, just to remind the 90s, pure 90s right there with Liefeld. And the way he drew, I think he did his best work early on. He's done better work recently, but I think there was a time period where he kind of gave up. That's just my opinion. But I think he always had, in the 90s, these covers were really, hit me with nostalgia. But anyway, so this is the first appearance of Shatterstar, Feral, and Warpath. Now, Thunderbird is here, and he changed his name to Warpath. So Warpath being in Marvel Series 3, is that a point? Or do you need the point to have Thunderbird's first appearance, which is in Giant Size X-Men? So we'll find out. I think we're going to need some type of a referee to really figure this out, because I'll get to this in a second, but let me show the next one I got. We have New Mutants number 29. This is the first appearance of Strong Guy. He was someone that moved over to, I think, X Factor at one point. Might have stayed with New Mutants. But I remember him in the X-Men cards. He's sort of, shown his bicep, and I think one of the smaller characters is like on his bicep. So it's a pretty cool, memorable card. And I think every big group, X-Men had to have a Colossus. Avengers has Hulk. New Mutants, X Factor, they had to have Strong Guy or Warpath or Thunderbird. So you needed that one guy that was the big guy to take down the big guy in the bad team. And if you look at a lot of Image comics like Wildcats, Cyberforce, Youngblood, they all had that big character in there. So it seemed like a stable back then. Now it's different today. I'm sure those teams aren't comprised the same way, but early on they had, Beast was the first in the X-Men. He was the big strong guy then. So just kind of the mantra for building a team. But the big book here that I got, New Mutants number 4. This is the Marvel graphic novel number 4 with New Mutants. This features Wolfsbane, Cannonball, Psyche, Karma, and Sunspot here. So this is tons of points for the price. Now this is the second printing. Couldn't find a first printing for a reasonable price. This is not a book I find very often, nor would I want to pay a ton for it. May even read this one because it's a Chris Claremont run or written book, so it may be pretty cool to read at one point here. But I was really just going for the points. And when it comes to second appearances, from what I remember when the guys did their original Series 2 competition, that something like a New Mutants number 87, second print, Cable first appearance does count. So that's where some of the some things get a little fuzzy. Second prints count as 1 point. You have stuff like Warpath Thunderbird. Is that a point there, or do you have to have giant size X-Men? Now I have both, so I'm okay. But how does that work? Major Victory. Do you have to have Vance Astro, or do you have to have Major Victory? How is it listed in Marvel Series 3, and how is it listed on Key Collector? There's some differentiating, differentials on those two. Series 3 cards say one, as does the Key Collector. And let me ask this other question and tell me in the comments about those items, plus this. Should the first appearance of the world-renowned villainous Sludge be worth the same if I had an Amazing Fantasy number 15? So in this contest, where there's tons of money involved, we're talking thousands, should this 1 point be the same as if I had 1 point for Amazing Fantasy 15? Shouldn't there be some point system? I think we can design one. I think that'd be pretty cool. Think about this as well. Here's a Spider-Man, our Marvel team, but Spider-Man and Captain Britain, number 65. First U.S. appearance of Captain Britain. Should this count as a point? Or do you have to have what I do back here, the first appearance of Captain Britain in the UK version, which is the points? Now, I'm not trying to, change the system here, change the game, but I'm just asking questions. If we're gonna need bragging rights, we got to have a well thought out plan and some rules. And I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think every first appearance should be worth the same? Do you think second print should be worth the same as first prints? Do you think when the character changes a name, is that the first appearance, or do you go back to their actually first being seen? I guess Ant-Man and Giant Man are two different characters, but the same character but two different names. So how does that work? So tell me what you think in the comments. But I think we got about 10 or 15 points now between all these I picked up. And I think I'm probably at 50 to 75. And there are 160 points to get. What I'm gathering here. I don't know, maybe 70, probably 80 points to get. So that's what I'm counting here. You guys tell me if I'm right or wrong. I don't have the cards. I have the sheets, so I can go through and check the boxes. But I think there's between, let's say, 80 to 100 total points to be gotten. They're all worth the same. I'm about halfway there. Hopefully, I'm in the lead, and we'll see what happens when we finally do that video with the Marvel Series 3 cards. So stay tuned for that. Let me know what you think. Spectacular Spider-Man run, the point system. What do you think about that? So thanks for watching. It's been fun to make the videos. Just Josh and those guys, giving them a hard time, but it's fun to hunt comics. It's fun to find the things that you were just talking about, whether it be through through an IG chat or on the phone or text messaging, or you see something, somebody just got something. And I think that's kind of cool to find them in the wild. And then to make it even more cool is to put a little competition there. So I've been enjoying it. Hope they are too. And we'll see what the final word is. But I have a feeling I'm going to be the big winner. We'll see you guys on the next unboxing. Peace.